high and wide.
I have a question related to identity, what we were talking about. Um, I'm a psychodynamic therapist, right? So like I believe that early experiences impact our adult behavior in our lives now. Like how we operate now is based on what has happened to us earlier on.
Is there someone that doesn't believe that?
No, they would still believe it, but it's not the primary lens that they would see a client from.
Okay.
There might be different ways of approaching it, but that's like the main road that I would take, right? I was thinking about the growing up in that area, like the Rochefort Flower Drive area, and the impact it has on you, on us, I guess, now as guys in our 30s. You ever think about that?
No, I don't.
I think about the high school part a lot.
Just hanging out with brown people?
Yeah. You know how rare it is? For some, it's very rare. But I think for us in the GTA, growing up in the early 2000s, maybe for a select few, it's not that rare. But having so many Desi friends, like people bringing shami kebab sandwiches for lunches.
Yeah.
There was a tajweed class that would happen in high school on the lunch table. There was a couple of dudes and they would actually be doing like a halaqah at lunch.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And like how that would, when you look back, everything kind of like makes sense. Like, oh, this is how I ended up here, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so grateful for like those experiences.
Yeah.
We used to lead like Jummah khutbahs in high school.
May Allah accept, brother. The shortest khutbahs ever.
I don't know if the pillars were even,
I don't know. May Allah
there.
accept.
But those are some, man, formative experiences there.
That's true. Yeah. No, I don't spend too much time thinking about that. Good question.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, then let me open it up. Generally speaking, what do you think are some earlier experiences of yours that really resonate even now, that kind of shaped who you are, the man that you've become?
Recently, I went on a field trip with my then 4-year-old, now 5-year-old, right? And I wrote about this field trip that I went to, how I remember very early on, I think I was in grade 4, it was the first dad that came to accompany a class field trip.
Yes.
Right? I was 9 years old. And that dude, he was fun. He was a cool guy. Like he introduced us to root beer floats. So everyone got to experience that. It was nice. And then he was like super chill.
Mr. Sutherland.
Yeah. And he remained like the only dad to have ever come on a field trip throughout all of my schooling.
Yep.
Right. And then when it was time for my 4-year-old to go on a class field trip, I was like, she asked me if I want to come. I was like, yeah.
Hell yes.
So I filled out the form or whatever, and then I went, and she was so happy, and I was like, I'm so glad. So, and then I went on another field trip just recently, snow tubing with my 8-year-old.
How was that?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not built for the cold, but like it was a lot of fun. So I had taken a day off work. That was a Thursday, and Friday comes along, and then I log into work, and the first Zoom call with my manager. She's like, how was snow tubing?
No way.
And I was like, it was so much fun, and I'm so glad that I went, honestly. And I told her, I was just, cause we have a really good relationship. I was like, I'm so grateful to be able to take a day off work and go to these kinds of events, because my parents couldn't do that for me because they needed to survive. They needed to put food on the table. And so I now have the privilege to be able to do something like that. And she's like, Rafi, I'm getting goosebumps because I got to tell you, and she's a boomer, and she's an immigrant. So she said, I got to tell you, I will regret this until the day that I die. Until they put me in the grave, I will regret this. My son finished grade 5, and it was his school graduation, because his elementary was up to grade 5. And he, wanted me to come, and I couldn't make it because, and as she's telling me this, she's trying to remember the reason she couldn't come. She's like, because there was something happening at work. And I was like,
not even important anymore.
The fact that you can't even remember it anymore, but it was so big in the moment.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, it was so big in the moment, I can't even remember it anymore. And my son now is 20-something years old, and he remembers it. Dang.
Oh,
you didn't come to graduation.
Damn.
He's like, so yeah, whatever you need, take a day off. Let me know.
That's so nice.
Just go. I was like, yeah, thanks. So yeah, Mr. S from grade 9. That I think that just seeing that had an impact. And I didn't know it had an impact until my kid was much older. So there are certain things where I think it's something happens and you're like, oh, I remember this in my childhood. But that's one example.
Yeah, 2 weeks after that, I did the exact same thing as well.
Yeah. Where did you guys go?
Some pumpkin farm.
Yeah,
somewhere.
We did something similar. Yes.
Yeah, I loved it. There's 3 parent supervisors. I was the only dad.
Yeah.
And it was great. I loved it. I had so much fun. But yeah, the twins were both on that field trip, so they both got to hang out. You know, I sat with Zaid in the school bus on the ride there and back. Like that was great.
Yeah.
They definitely will. I mean, I will, even if they don't remember it, I will remember that for sure.
They will remember it.
I
Sure, percent remember it.
Yeah, I hope so.
I remember we had taken our kids to swim class. We do that. We try to do that every summer. Swim class is expensive, man. So both of them are in swim class. My wife and I are sitting outside. We're watching them, and she turns to me and she says, "Can you imagine if our parents did this with us?" I was like, "I would be an entirely different person today."
You think so?
I think so.
How? In what sense?
I think it would just be knowing that my parents are there, but they were there. But see, anything I say could be misconstrued. So try your best. I think it's just a confidence. It's a confidence thing. It would be like an empowering feeling. I think that's what it could have changed. Not that my parents weren't there to do damage control now.
Yeah.
But it's just having that sense of empowerment, I think, would have helped.
I don't think you have to do a whole lot of damage control. I've actually spoken to me about this.
Oh, yeah?
Like how, and I mean, agreed that like a parent can never fully emotionally satisfy the needs of a child, right? A child will always want full attention, whatever the needs are. And even if the parent gives their 100%, it might not mean that they fully met those needs. And I mean, agrees with that.
That's fair.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
So it's not to like say that our parents fell short or something like that. Yo, buddy, you're alive here because of that. We're alive here because of that.
Facts.
But also in like a strange kind of Uno reverse card type of way, because they didn't do that, attending field trips and that kind of stuff, is actually why you were able to do that now for your kids.
Yeah.
Had you grown up with that, maybe it's something that we would have taken for granted. Be like, nah, join you in the next one or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I got to do some work. You go to your graduation.
Right.
But now it's like, oh, no, you know what? These things are actually really important and I want to make sure I'm there for. And it's because we don't have those experiences. So
just to be more cognizant of things like that.
Yeah, agreed. So alhamdulillah for everything.
You had said shami kebab for lunches, and I remember that I had a friend and his nickname was Shami Kebab because he would bring it consistently. Shami Kebab is like a burger, like a kebab made of lentils and like shredded meat.
It has nothing to do with sham.
I actually don't know where it got its name, Shami, from. Yeah, it's lentils and ground beef or some sort of shred meat together. So this dude, we call him Shami Kebab. Just amazing. What kind of lunches do you give your kids?
The same lunch that I used to get. You know, the breaded chicken burgers?
Yeah.
Those are a staple.
Halal.
So definitely those. We just go for convenience, to be honest. Yeah, I feel almost embarrassed to say what kind of lunches. They're definitely not ethnic diverse things. It's like, oh, pizza pocket, great, yeah, sounds good. No,
it's fine.
Maybe sometimes like Zay, he loves keema, ground beef, so soft like little burritos with keema and cheese and stuff like that. So
my wife will make zeit and zatar sandwiches for the kids as like just
love that.
Something mandatory that she needs to pass down. But they go to Islamic school, so there's so many other kids there that are going through. You know, they have the same lunches.
Yeah.
So my kids eating the zeit and zatar sandwich is not the same thing as my wife in her day. My kids will never know.
Yeah, eating a zeit and zatar sandwich in a public school at lunchtime is far different than eating it in an Islamic school.
They'll never know the feeling of, you know, opening up your zipper of your backpack in math class and the smell of kebabs like wafting through the air. They'll never know that. They'll never know the embarrassment or like being shy about it.
Yeah, they'll flaunt it.
That's my Instagram handle, right? The description. Used to hide my kebab lunches, and now I flaunt them.
Nice. Yeah. You said that line a few times. I didn't know it was part of your bio.
Oh yeah, it is.
I love that.
I had it up there for years.
I'm thinking about like what is it that I want to pass on to my kids in terms of like heritage, identity, culture.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Deep question.
And I don't really know.
I thought about that. Like, if something were to happen, if we were traveling and I needed to leave a note, like, what could I say to them to say,
Okay.
to something?
Yeah.
And there isn't much, honestly.
The rope of God.
Hold on to the rope of God.
Yeah.
Is like the best thing you could say. And don't ever take me as a role model because I'm so flawed.
Yeah.
Like there's a role model that we all have. Go read the Sirah, and there you have it, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, that got real deep there. That got real deep. I try to do these like little posts and stuff for my kids.
Yeah, those are nice articles.
I mean, okay, I call them posts, but really they were letters that I had written for my kids. And I decided to then share them online also. I've removed all of them now, or archived them now. Maybe one day I will, but it was similar. The idea was what do I want to pass on to my kids? What do I want them to know as they look back? Like, assuming that they were, child looking back at these words a decade or two later, what do I want to tell them?
I did my best.
Yeah, honestly, that's literally the first post. The first post was like, not only am I watching you grow up, but actually the truth is you've been watching me grow up.
Total time. Yeah. Because my eldest is 8. 8 years ago, I was not the same person that I am today. We're just figuring this out as we go along.
They say no two siblings were ever parented by the same parent.
Yeah.
Because it's all...
Dr. Mate said that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yo, respect that guy, bro. OG. I've been wanting to explore that more of writing to the kids again, just for myself, probably not posts or whatever, but like we have an email for them,
same
like many parents.
Yeah.
I know I should. Like I feel like I might regret it if I don't. Like,
do it, even if it's a video format or something.
A little voice note. Could I send a voice note?
You send whatever you want. I went in and then I found like a shared album on Google Photos that I shared with them, and I had forgotten about it. But it was like a selfie of me and all the kids, all 3 of them, and the caption said, "It's daylight savings and no one slept in, and we're all just looking tired." And I was like, "Oh, I forgot about this," but it's something cool that they can open like 20 years from now.
That's right.
So yeah, if anyone hasn't created an email address for their kids, like, do it the moment they're born, and just start sharing any album that you have, family picnic or whatever. Just create a shared album and send them the link.
Can I add to that an additional pro tip? Between partners, create a shared Google photo album and select which faces will be dumped into the shared album. And then also additionally add your kids' emails to that Google family account. So that way, if I ever take a picture and let's say my kids' faces, my wife immediately gets a notification in the shared Google photo album of this picture. Same thing happens with her pictures that have the kids' faces. And then the kids' email address will also.
I like that.
Isn't that crazy? Yo, what a time to be alive.
What a time.
Yo, these kids are going to grow up, and they're going to be like, yo, did our parents have nothing better to do than just taking pictures? Like millennial parents. But yeah, try that.
That's cool. I like that.
And then, I started thinking, in psychotherapy, there's a thing of like writing letters to your younger self, right? It's a form of healing. It's very, very powerful. It's not for everyone, but it's a way of comforting your younger self that's still kind of there, right? Of what they would need to hear to kind of get over that emotional hurdle.
That sounds awesome because I've seen TikToks like that.
It's very powerful, profound stuff. It could be very therapeutic, right? And I thought from that lens, what would it be like as a father to write to your kids? So let's say a kid is reading this. Your kid is reading when they're like 16, 17, 18, right? They're reading a letter that's written by their father, and it's addressed to them when they were younger. Wouldn't that be interesting also?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or even it's written to them when they are
Of that age.
of that age as well. How incredible that could be, because obviously we see certain characteristics and traits in them with, coming from that unconditional love mindset, that we could probably, even though we might not be there or whatever the case is, maybe we don't know the certain situation they're going through, but we could still kind of, give a little nudge, like here's a little support that you can still use, even though you don't want to open up to me, or if I'm in a whatever.
That's very
Gone.
smart.
Dead.
I like that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that.
It's like echoes from the past, but like it's, I think I'm on something.
I like that.
Right?
We could explore that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like a little dear kid, you're amazing at this. This is, you just did this, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, or you should be proud of yourself for what you just did today. All right, new series hitting high and wide next season. Stay tuned.
Us 4 siblings, 13 kids between us.
Inshallah.
Mashallah. So my kids have all these cousins, which is a totally different experience than when you and I were little. Our family had moved here, just the 4 of us siblings and parents, 6 people. We didn't have first cousins, we didn't have aunts and uncles. So what's that look like? Yeah, exactly. Here, sorry, they're alive. I have them. They're just overseas. They're back home. Is it back home?
It can be for you if you want it.
What is home?
I think that is the one thing that our kids have definitely that we didn't. Is to grow up with so many cousins, so many relatives, so close by.
Yeah, I see my eldest, and I'm like, I was talking to Amin about this, how he is so much more socially developed at his age than I was at 8.
No doubt.
And she's like, yeah, because he's got so many people to interact with, right? All these different relationships and dynamics, which we didn't have because we just had siblings.
Yeah. I mean, I think parenting also plays a part here of the amount of conversation that you guys do with your kids, right?
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, like the sleepovers, the grandparents, mashallah, on both sides, it's so nice. It's so enriching to like see our kids growing up with that, because every weekend all the siblings get together at Amina's place, and it's like your place, and it's a zoo, right? It's a zoo, and it's so beautiful. We are right now in the
good old days.
We are in the good old days. These are the golden days for sure right now. Alhamdulillah. God is kind, for sure.
It's true. And this is something that many millennials will face, right? Aging parents. And just as that becomes more and more of a reality in our lives. These are the golden days.
There's like a underlying almost sadness saying that these are the golden days. Yeah.
I checked out the Digital Sisterhood podcast that you recommended.
Oh, nice. What'd you think?
Yeah. Dude, I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I'm only a few episodes. I finished 2.5, almost on the 3rd episode. You had said it's an input that you don't have in your life.
Yeah,
I thought about that. I was like, that's so true.
Okay, because when I said that, for like days after, I was like, man, I don't think I phrased that properly. Like when I said that it's a different input, I think I could have elaborated a little bit more, but I'm glad that you understood what I meant.
Okay. What did you mean?
It's from a female perspective, from a Muslim woman perspective, it is it's so cool to see those discussions and topics and point of views that I don't really have as much, or I do now, right? That I didn't have before. I didn't grow up with those things. And that's what I meant. That's so important to have that input in your life, just to help you widen your horizons, the way that we think as Muslim men. That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah. Also, Somali people are hilarious.
Allah Mubarak.
And it's on Rabbil Alameen.
Are they GTA based?
Yeah, yeah.
They are, right?
And
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
dude, I need more Somali people in my life.
Hands down. Absolutely.
I need a lot more of like everyone in my life, frankly. Like having gone through high school and university in Mississauga of all places, it's a shame that I don't have more diverse friends actually.
Yeah.
I kind of just like went through this bubble of just Desis and Arab, and it's not very diverse.
This is an open call out here, an open invitation for diverse friends for us and play dates for our children.
Yes.
I want, it is mandatory for my kids to grow up with a very diverse group of friends.
We need a checklist. Like, do you have a black friend? Check. Do you have an Asian friend? Check.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, done. So if you'd like to hang out with us, our children, send us a DM. We'll set it up.
Especially Asians, like they have had so many similar experiences that like we can relate to.
In what sense?
We had talked about like
the prejudice and racism kind of thing, or
that with third culture.
okay,
Like your
yeah,
parents are from some place where you're growing up, in a place where the culture that you have at home versus what you have outside of the house is a little different. How your name is pronounced, what name you choose for yourself.
that's true.
Just like different things like that, right?
Yeah.
Just something small. Like I remember I had once posted about my kid and the rite of passage where he had eaten a whole black pepper in his rice, right? And that's like a rite of passage for every Desi kid. Like you find a whole spice in your rice, and then
I think it's more so biting elaichi is more
yes,
the
yeah,
right
actually
passage.
cardamom.
Yes.
And so my Asian friend, she's Chinese, she had said, this is like me in my childhood where I didn't know if it was a piece of ginger or a piece of chicken. I'm like, that's so interesting. Cool.
Yes.
The similarity. But I do wish that I had had more diverse friends growing up. I think that would have just enriched me.
Well, it's not too late.
No, it's not.
We can still change that. I was actually just telling Rids today, my wife today, that I really want to do a trip to China.
Okay.
I've been wanting to go to China and Malaysia and Tokyo for a very long time. She does not want to come to any of those places. She wants to prioritize Istanbul. Yeah. And Umrah. I'm like, okay, fine. Umrah's good. Okay. But maybe you and I can do it.
I'm down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally down. My son would be devastated if I went to Japan without him.
Okay, fine. We'll take the kids.
So, no, let's just skip that. Can we just hit up Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore?
Dude, I'm so down. I would love to.
Yeah. I'd like to do that as well. Very much so.
I actually want the kids to be exposed to countries that I didn't grow up going to or even learning about. I don't want to freaking go to Europe. I don't care. I don't care. If you don't have a bidet in your bathroom, I don't care about attending, about coming to your country.
Seriously.
Is that harsh? Can I say that?
You can say that.
Okay. Malaysia, dude, would be so sick.
You can go see Ayman Azlan. Shout out to Ayman Azlan.
An old friend of ours.
And Hazem's there too.
Yes. Okay. So it's settled then? 20, what year?
I had to buy a house first. I had to go for Umrah and save up for Hajj.
Inshallah, 2030.
See that?
Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is trip to Malaysia. Boys trip to Malaysia. All right, well, it's been a pleasure.
This episode is brought to you by Warsha Studios. It's available on YouTube, Instagram, and the audio recordings are on Spotify and Apple. See you at the next episode.
Warsha Studios Podcast.